Welcome. This is Tom DeCord. I'm very excited to have with me Bret Xu. And Bret is a math teacher in New York City. And unlike many math teachers who scurry away from AI and basically prohibit their students from using it, Bret has jumped right in, and his students are using AI very actively in a very intriguing way. So we're going to explore that today. So, Bret, first of all, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Tom. Glad to be
Uh,
here.
Bret, this is a great honor and opportunity for me, for all of us. And well, first of all, you come from kind of a unique background in finance and finance into education. How did that come about?
Well, yeah, I was a hedge fund manager for close to 20 years, and I've always enjoyed teaching. Actually, I come from a educational family. Like my grandfather was a professor, my father was a teacher, and my wife is a teacher as well. So I feel like, I've been in the hedge fund industry in Asia for a long time,
Mhm.
and I wanted to move back to the US. And I thought it's time after 20 years to finally get back into something that I enjoy. Yes.
Fantastic. It's definitely in the blood.
Exactly.
In the family blood. So tell us about your teaching, your school, your responsibilities, your students, what a maybe a typical day is like for you.
Okay, sure. So I teach at an international high school.
Mhm.
So here we are, 100% of our student populations are from newly immigrants from Latin American.
Mhm.
So they are all English language learners, and virtually everyone speaks Spanish.
Mhm.
And so that's the setting we're in. I am teaching 11th grade math. So I primarily teach Algebra 2 to
Mhm.
my students. And because of the wide variety of student population we have here in terms of mathematical foundations. So the class is actually quite diversified in terms of the skill levels of the student and the linguistic challenges as well.
Yes, yes, some pretty unique language, multicultural challenges, I would
Right.
imagine.
And
So,
particularly for me because I don't speak Spanish very well. So I
right.
always try to explore tools, that would help me, help student learning. So
That's understandable. So tell us about AI. I mean, why were you interested in leveraging AI for your students?
Okay, on several fronts. Number one is the language barrier that I talked about. So
Mhm.
I've tried to, what do you say, like use like translanguaging and use translations in the exercises that I gave the students. However, like the amount of discussions is very limited between myself and the students because of the language barrier.
Mhm.
Like I have to speak broken Spanish to them, and they cannot express their thoughts very well in English.
Mhm.
And if they do speak Spanish, like most of the times I wouldn't understand the logic behind it because in mathematics you have to be able to explain your thoughts very clearly.
Right.
And due to my own deficiencies in Spanish, like I don't understand them as well. So that's the number one of, well, I shouldn't say number one, but that's one of the reasons that led me into exploring tools that will help me in the classroom. And the second one, very big reason that I wanted to explore AI is because there are a very diverse background of my students. So some are like at elementary school level,
Mhm.
and some are, at grade level, like 11th grade. So how do I teach all of them in the same classroom with differentiated tactics? And like the traditional differentiation methods can only go so far. Like, okay, if you have students that are maybe 1, 2 years apart in terms of mathematical foundation, you can differentiate the exercise. But here I'm talking about 8, 10 years apart.
Wow.
Like, so how can I, as a teacher, target individual needs of all my students. And when AI, like ChatGPT came out in 2022, I immediately saw that as an opportunity because, prior to that, I've been telling other teachers that I always wanted to make a copy of myself for every individual student. And
Right, right.
that, that would really get the job done, but obviously that's not possible. But with AI, it's actually coming, hopefully, not yet, but in the future will come close to that.
Yeah, we're coming close. That's for sure. So it seems like one of the areas you've delved into is formative assessment. The last time we chatted, you were telling me about your use of Snorkl. So maybe explain to our viewers a little bit about Snorkl, why you ended up integrating it, and what has been the result and reaction from you and your students.
Yeah, sure. Snorkel basically is like an assessment tool on particularly useful for assessing students' higher order thinking
Mhm.
capabilities. And so it's basically a whiteboard interface, and the AI is able to analyze whatever is on the whiteboard graphically.
Mhm.
And also it's multimodal as well, in a sense that you can write text on the whiteboard. You can draw, make annotations on the whiteboard. You can work actually on your paper and take a picture and paste it on the whiteboard of
Mhm.
your work on the paper. Or you can speak to the AI as a verbal response. So
Yeah,
I
that's
really,
a key thing, right? Sorry to interrupt, but that's also one of the key aspects here of Snorkel is that students can actually speak. So they can explain their steps and perhaps explain their thinking, and
yeah,
makes that thinking more visible, and you can garner more insights out of it. Sorry again for
exactly.
interrupting.
You're absolutely right. So that is one of the main reasons I like to use Snorkel. And the fact that it is a whiteboard interface rather than like a chatbot,
Mhm.
like a text-based chatbot, to me, that makes a huge difference as well. And so, yeah, so I've been giving various problems for students to work on, to analyze, to explain. And once the student click the submit button, it takes the chatbot like a minute or two to respond and give them feedback on their answers.
Yeah, just so that everybody's clear, at the teacher, you can provide the criteria for Snorkel. So Snorkel provides almost immediate feedback to students, but it's aligned with your goals, and it could include a rubric. So do you,
Absolutely.
what kind of structure or format do you use for providing guidance to Snorkel?
So on the back end, basically you can produce AI prompt to the Snorkel. And usually once you create a problem, Snorkel automatically generates like an AI prompt on what it thinks you trying to achieve. And most of the time it's reasonable.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes you have to make small tweaks here and there, and then you can provide the rubric. You say, okay, at what kind of level responses will you be satisfied with, like in terms of, the details of how you want the students to explain and what qualifies as like a strong response or, an excellent response. So you tell the AI all that. And yeah, and then AI will analyze based on your prompt, how the student responds. And what I really enjoy is once the AI assess what the students responded, it will tell the student what they're missing. Like, what could you do better to earn a higher result? And that actually motivates the student to try to do better. So it's
Uh-huh.
not just a correct or incorrect answer, but hey, you explained this part, but I'm not quite sure how you got to the other part. Maybe you can explain more. If you can, then as AI, I will grade you, I will give you a higher grade. So that kind of challenges the student to think more and
Uh-huh.
think clearly. And yeah, so that's the part I really appreciate. And it's real time. So me as a teacher, I can see on my computer all the feedbacks the AI gives to the student. I can analyze right away what the highlights of the class are, what key knowledge perhaps the students are missing from the lesson. And so I can analyze all of that quite quickly. So yeah, it's effectively coming close to what I was saying earlier, that there's a copy of me individualized to each student, I guess.
And could you explain the environment in which students are working with Snorkel? Are they in class? Is it as a one-to-one environment where they're all working on computer, or do some work on Snorkel and maybe it's a kind of a station, a rotation, students are moving around, or do some even complete it at home later on? What's that sort of learning environment for the students?
So I've tried actually quite a few of them. One is working individually in the class. I've tried that. I've also tried group work depending on the exercise of the day. I don't usually have the entire class purely on Snorkel. So Snorkel usually comes towards the end where I'm trying to elevate student thinking into higher orders. And that's where the activity that I would use.
Okay.
So I haven't asked them to do it at home because some of our students don't have internet connections at home.
Right.
So
Equity is an
right,
issue
so it's
there.
a
Right.
little bit unfair to them. But
Of course.
in the classroom, we have done group work, different activities. We've done works that are strictly verbal. We've also done work, where you need to write and solve problems. So we tried a variety of ways. And I actually enjoy like verbal responses because student they tend to help each other. Like
Mhm.
once they see the the feedback that they received, and they would ask their partner or friends for help, like how can I explain better verbally?
Good,
Because
good. Yeah.
verbal is quite different from written work in that once you record it, like it's not there anymore. So you cannot go back and tweak and say, oh, let me add a word here or there, like a text-based thing. You really have to explain everything again. So it makes them that the repetitiveness makes them think more. So and they seek help more in that sense, actually.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of related skill development that I hadn't anticipated that for some students, this will be working on their verbal abilities, be able to explain themselves clearly, be able to explain something in a process logically, step by
exactly.
step. And of course, with students who where English is not their first language, that obviously can be a challenge for them. So how have they reacted to Snorkel? What kind of feedback do they give you, pro or con, about using Snorkel?
Sure. Just to piggyback off what you commented
Sure.
earlier, because they're language learners, right? English language learners. So, for those who are more comfortable in their reply, I challenge them to reply in English. Um, Even if it's not like 100% grammatically correct, I think the AI does a good job of understanding them.
Mhm.
And for those who really can't do English, the AI, if you just speak Spanish back, it's perfectly fine. The AI can understand everything and give you feedback in Spanish as well.
Right.
So that really sort of compensated for my own deficiency in the Spanish language skills, and that the students are able to communicate with the agent, with the Snorkel AI, and just learn and understand more. In terms of student feedbacks, I think I wouldn't say the student really enjoyed it a lot, but that is okay because every time I say snorkel time and I just hear everyone gives like a grunt because,
Right.
but to me, I actually liked it. The reason being that grunt is actually they know they're gonna be doing productive struggle.
Yeah, it's hard work.
Not gonna be easy.
Right.
It's
It's
hard
hard
work.
work.
That's
Right.
why they grunt.
Right.
But as a teacher, I like it because they're not grunting because oh, it's kind of useless tool or anything like that. They know they got to put in the work to do it. And so I did a survey for students, see how they like it. And most students responded saying it really helped their learning in the class. There are some cons as well, like students saying maybe it's a little bit too slow, perhaps,
Yeah.
because once you submit the answer, you gotta wait like a minute or two. And I see many students holding their fingers like
That's
it's all
forever
praying.
for that social doom scrolling generation, right? A minute?
Right,
Are you kidding me?
exactly. They would have their ritual, they would be praying, doing whatever, trying to, because then the feedback would pop up, like, whether
Sure.
they answered it with an excellent or strong or just not good enough. Like, so it's kind of fun. Yeah. Overall, I think the student find it useful, and I find it very useful as well, for particularly for like a unique situation that I am in. Yes.
Okay, thanks so much. Let's transition now. I really would love to hear about how you're exploring software building or app building through Playlab.
Yeah.
And so maybe if you could explain a little bit about Playlab and why you've sort of oriented yourself and some of these and your students towards app building.
Sure. I think Playlab came out quite a while ago, maybe even before a lot of like ChatGPT and Gemini came out with like,
Mhm.
jams, that kind of.
Right.
Oh, I don't know what's the ChatGPT version of that. Kind of forgot the name of it. Like,
Study, what is it? Study guide. I should know that. I've looked at it, but
uh,
pops up in my head.
yeah, but Playlab came out where you can customize, design your chatbot, and it can be teacher facing or student facing. And to me, like, honestly, teacher facing, everyone's doing a lot of different things with ChatGPT or other large language models. So it's not particularly interesting to talk about. For me, I find it very interesting and challenging to build a student facing tutorial chatbot. So last summer, I really spent the whole summer trying to build an entire math curriculum that's uploaded into Playlab with along with like my YouTube lessons, like short mini lessons, like the lesson script, the practice problems in the class, sorted by like from beginner to advanced levels, homework, everything. So the entire curriculum is referenced in Playlab. So during class, the student still works on with pen and paper,
Uh-huh.
but each of my problem is coded with so for example, like 2.OA.2.B, whatever. So each problem is coded. They can work on their paper, but they can ask the chatbot for help. Because of this unique code, they can immediately just ask the chatbot, hey, can you help me with this particular problem? And then present the code. And another useful thing is student often ask me to check answers, right? They're like, Mister, can you check I'm done? Is this correct? I don't know. And I just because the AI in the reference has all the answers, they can immediately just ask the AI if it's correct or not. They cannot ask the AI for the answer, but they can ask the AI to check whether their answer is correct or
Well,
not.
that's what I wanted to delve into because you've set up AI tutoring, and I'm
Mhm.
wondering what parameters, how you went about setting that up and establishing parameters for the AI interaction with the student.
So the parameters are basically the AI should be very friendly, like just very helpful to in their conversation with the students, and they're trying to scaffold as much as they can without revealing the answer to the students. And yeah, so basically it's designed to work with the problems that I uploaded. So um, just try their best to explain the problem to the students. So in the upload reference material, I have step by step like how I want everything done, and the AI would read it and try to help the student based on these criterias. And yeah, so it's obviously multilingual. I'm trying to, at times I thought about, trying to challenge the student, try to do more English, but then I made it more flexible actually. So because each individual needs are very different. And Playlab has a pretty powerful button set because, as we all know, I mean, if you ever build like chatbots, tutor bots with ChatGPT or Gemini or any other, whatever you write in the prompts, they don't reveal the answer. Inevitably, one student will be able to
They'll
find
figure it out, right?
to
Right.
get
Oh,
the agent to reveal the answer.
sure.
So, but um, in Playlab, they actually have a pretty powerful option to never reveal the answer. And I don't know how they did it in the back end, but it's
Mhm.
actually pretty good, very effective that the chatbot just doesn't give away the answer. And it was an interesting experiment. So when I first introduced the chatbot, I made a video about how to use it, the suggested way to use it. And the students were loving it because they don't have to wait for me to come around to help them, that they can directly talk to the chatbot, which was every bit my intent to begin with. But then I found out something interesting, that the students began to use the chatbot every single time. When they see a problem, they immediately, instead of thinking, how should I do this? They go to the chatbot right away and say, what's the first step? How should I tackle this problem? So even though the chatbot is trained to never reveal the final answer, it is still acting as a crutch, like a scaffolding crutch for the students, that they don't struggle productively because they know there's a tutor there
Wow.
that just ask step by step. And I mean, it's not cheating in a sense that they're trying to get the answer, but they're just lazy. They don't want to think, and they say, "Hey, I don't know how to do it. What's the first step?" And then the chatbot would suggest the first step, and then obviously the chatbot wouldn't give them the answer to the first step, but it would
Wow.
suggest what to do,
Strategy
and they
step.
just
Step.
follow the procedure, and then, okay, I did this. Now, what's the second step?
So
So
what's your antidote, if there is one, to them using it as a crutch by, hey, tell me the first step kind of thing?
Right, right. Actually, honestly, it took me really by surprise because I didn't anticipate that. I thought I'd take away the not revealing the final answer. That would be all good. But this kind of behavior actually took me by surprise. Honestly, at this moment, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's a good remedy. Like, for example, I don't run into that in Snorkl because Snorkl, well, maybe it's an assessment tool. It does have a AI, like a chatbot assistant as well. But the students don't seem to use that as much. And so it's attacking the problem from a different way. And so for me, my chatbot with Playlab, yeah, I'm not sure with that chatbot, or if I improve it, like how it would that leads me into thinking, like, in the future, like we really need like more agentic, like more proactive kind of AI tools where they can see, they they know when to push a student and when to give assistance.
Well,
And right
there's sort of oh, sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I mean, just right now, with the current versions of AI, which is a passive, answering question kind of models, they cannot do that. They cannot make this kind of assessment, as a teacher, as a human being, that we can do, when should I push the student, hey, stop asking me this, you can do it. Just think about it for a couple of more minutes and tackle it from there. Like the AI chatbot is always very helpful. Helpful. You ask one question, it tries to respond. Unless you're trying to cheat, then it stops. But it's just, to me, it's still being too helpful. Yeah.
And then the sort of quote unquote traditional interaction, user and chatbot, is the user initiates the conversation, the communicates a request
Hmm.
for information or a request for action, and then the chatbot responds. But this can be reversed, where the chatbot is asking the preliminary question and
Exactly.
initiating conversation, starting to direct it. And
Exactly.
that could change the interaction between user and chatbot as well. And I'm starting to see these kinds of interaction models being developed and being introduced. So, well, I think we'll have a different environment, perhaps, going forward. Hey, in the time we have left, I wanted to switch to kind of an intriguing aspect of sort of the next venture of AI, and that's agentic AI. So you're exploring now building an AI agent for your classroom. Can you tell us kind of the why and the how you're going about this?
Yeah, sure. Well, knowing the deficiencies with the Playlab chatbot that I created earlier, so I figure like what we mentioned about more proactive, not just a passive responding AI, we have to go a step further. And I think agentic AI, it's something that I haven't explored fully yet, but I plan to dedicate this summer to do. And hopefully the vision I have is it's able to identify like student weaknesses and fill in their knowledge gap from the reference material that I have right away. So let's say it identifies a student weakness that he or she doesn't know how to, let's say, factor a quadratic function, for example. And we're already in Algebra 2, so that's Algebra 1 material. So it will be able to pull up my teaching video, like on YouTube, like a short video, and show it to the students, and and then assess the students after watching the video, give a few problems, how you know how that to see if they actually grasp the material. So all of this is kind of proactive kind of engagement with the students. Another one would be like, okay, so there's a learning, like a learning what do you call that? Like a memory
Uh-huh.
learning system. So, maybe you learned, cubic functions, a month ago. When should I, re-expose the student to that problem again so they won't forget? Like the AI should be automatically tracking each student's progress and then using these kind of algorithms to periodically refresh their memories on the past knowledge that they have
As like
learned.
spaced retrieval.
Exactly, exactly.
Mhm.
So all of this requires like kind of a very proactive, agentic kind of AI model, which something that like a passive current, like just a chatbot couldn't do. So that's something that I'm trying to explore.
And do you know what platform or platforms you might be using to build it?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet. I mean, I'm gonna look into like OpenClaw or Hermes
Mhm.
just because they're more customizable. But if not, maybe like Claude Cowork, perhaps. But yeah, I'm not sure. I really have to test them out. Like, really haven't had the time to do it yet. But that's kind of my vision on how I would like a AI, like a real true AI agent function in the class and help me and help the students basically.
Okay, and then finally, I'm just curious about how the administration reacts to your use of AI and what safeguard or guardrails are in place, either administratively or you yourself as you've documented in using some of these tools. So, what's the environment like administration in terms of support and policies and things of that nature?
hmm So actually in our school, the administration is pretty open to AI. I think they do see it as a wonderful opportunity for equalization of our students. So I've actually been doing a few school-wide PDs to promote AI in classrooms. And in terms of policies, privacy issues, the DOE, like in New York City, has the guidelines, and yeah, we all follow that guideline. And the tools we use so far has all been approved by the DOE. So like in terms of privacy and all that policy wise. But overall, I think the school is quite open to exploring AI, particularly for our special student populations. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Terrific, and I appreciate you spending the time. I know you have a busy schedule and you have to get back to work, but this has been fascinating, intriguing, and I just admire your thoughtfulness and the insights that you've provided us. So thank you so much, Bret. And I'm eager to hear how your exploration goes over the summer, and hopefully we talk again about your experimentation of AI agents in the classroom.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Tom. I'll definitely keep you updated with the
Thanks so
experiment.
much. All right. Take care.
All right. Thank you.